Are you ready to actually see it in action? The different ways that I'm going to be replacing my executive assistant with AI. In last week's video, I had my assistant Honey join us and she walked me through the different tasks that she identified could be replaced with AI. So, of course, this week I brought her on so she can actually see it in action. So, everyone say hi to Honey. Hi, Honey.
Hi, everyone.
How are you feeling so far that we are going to slowly start replacing what you do with AI?
Well, for me, it's an interesting flow. And then I'm learning a lot with AI, even though I'm using it for like 3 years now. So there's a lot of things to discover. And I'm super excited to dive through.
Very cool. So to walk you guys through what we've done so far, so we're following essentially the framework that I made up, but it works for a lot of our clients, so I'm sticking with it. We basically call the BOSS AI or the BOSAI or the BOS with AI. We've named it different ways, which is basically the actual what it means is your business operating stack with AI. But the process of it, we follow the same thing. Where B is brain dumping or basically blueprinting. This is essentially the process that I went through with Honey last time of grabbing all of the tasks that she's currently doing. And then we also did organize. The O in BOSAI is organize, where we mapped out which ones are we already like SOPs for, which ones are easier to replace with AI, not so easy to replace with AI. And then essentially on the S, which is systematize, is essentially writing out the SOPs for it. But because Honey is a 2X UEA, she already has a ton of these in SOP form. And Honey, can you walk me through so far like what your SOPs look like, what that looks like, basically based off of the tasks that we identified from last week?
So this is how I usually manage Lian's emails. So first things first, I read through each of the emails and then I add labels from which category. So here are the important labels under Lian's email. So we have here action needed items. So these are the urgent ones. Please read emails. So these are urgent, but this is typically for Lian's information. And then for contract resign, these are documents like job offers, tax forms. So Lian really need to sign those for this task to move forward. And then for current clients, of course, these are emails from our own clients. So typically this is just for her information, but sometimes there are urgent needed items. So I really need to tag that accordingly as well. And then for Calendly, these are just different book calls that we have. So depending on the tag or on the processes, I need to check them accordingly for me to be able to process them and which flow will they enter. And then for internal team related labels, again, this is for Lian's information only, but it needs to be tagged as well. For subscription, so these are from newsletters that Lian wanted to read. And then for me, Honey tasks, of course, we also have this. These are emails that I need to review before sending it out. So that's it. And after that, same thing, I go through the emails coming from tools if I should unsubscribe it. And the next one would be checking spams or unnecessary emails. So these will be an opportunity for AI. So AI having to look which emails are not related with any of the business. So this will make it easier as well. So, and then of course, drafting and then replying and sending emails. So with AI, it's easier for me to write emails based on the context, refining the emails. So yeah, that's how I manage Lian's email. So for calendar, I have here typically like how you create or like schedule a call or like a meeting. So first, I need to identify what type of meeting is it. Is it for the team meeting, for getting to know Lian meeting? So I need to identify that one. So for titles, usually
because of course we're using Calendly. So for right now, like what are the moments that I would ask you to manage my calendar?
Usually for having a meeting with a team. Like for example, when you ask me to schedule a call with this person, I need to talk about like SOPs or documentation. But with regards to the sales call, it's actually already set up on Calendly, so I don't need to do thing there. But mostly this is for internal team. And then for, of course, when you send out a calendar invite, you also need to have the title, the time. So before, I usually go through this step by step, but I already have my processes. So when Lian asked me to schedule a meeting for this person, I usually ask her what type of meeting, what time, what's the duration, something like that. And of course, location. This will be like usually virtual meeting. So I also have her main Zoom link so I can attach it to the calendar invite. And of course, notification. This is by default, like 10 minutes. Of course, I need to put a notification for Lian to be reminded on her next meeting. And of course, calendar hold. So as a person handling Lian's calendar, you don't need to put that invite to your own calendar, like from my own calendar. It should be on Lian's calendar. So double check that part, because when I first handled Lian's calendar, I forgot to check this part. So, yep. And then for description, this is where AI comes in. So, for example, Lian gave me context. So, I just prompt to AI, like, write me a description for this kind of meeting. And then AI will then automatically do a bullet points. And then for guests, of course, you need to specify, like, who's the person who will be in this call, like how many people, something like that. And then save and send. So make sure to double check everything as well. And then if after the meeting, if there's anything else you need to do, feel free to manage and follow up as needed as well. So yeah, that's it. For content repurposing, so this is actually the main thing that AI helped me with my task. So first, for content repurposing, Lian have this main video. So from there, I grab the transcript and then throw everything to AI, and then AI will just automatically wrote it for me. So to walk you through, so let's go through, of course, identify the YouTube video and the transcript to repurpose. So there are a lot of tools you can use for grabbing transcript, but for me, I use this YouTube summary with ChatGPT and Claude transcription. So if you have any preferred tool, you can use that as well. The next would be when I grab the transcript, I feed it to AI. So the AI already is set up. So I have here like a prompt for me. So here are like following the WOW method. I give it like instruction, how would it look like, and then what's the output. So you really need to be detailed with your prompt when you will be creating your AI assistant or AI agent. And then, of course, reviewing the first draft before moving it to Lian Voice Writer. I also have a Lian Voice Writer. So everything AI or ChatGPT wrote, I put it on Lian Voice Writer for me to be able to refine like the tone, the style of writing and everything. And the next one would be, as I mentioned, the Lian Voice Writer. And then once that's done, of course, you don't need to copy and paste and then post it directly to all of the social media platforms. I need to review that as well, like read all throughout the post, and then make sure it's like more human, more specific, more aligned with Lian's tone, less generic, and then clearer and more natural to read. And then, of course, I have here like CTAs, like things to look out for. Make sure that it's like the hook, and then the right CTA is there. And then, of course, final polish and formatting. So we have here like a different messaging. So make sure it's on the right messaging as well. Like, for example, executive assistant for business owners, coaches, consultants, and then post and schedule. So this is already the final post. So after you double check everything, it's time for you to post and schedule that one. And then if you have any checklist, you can also have that for you to be guided on the different things for this steps and flow. So yeah, that's it.
So now that we've done the S in BOSAI, we basically, again, blueprint, organize, S systematize, basically building out the SOPs, the assets, the templates. This is usually the part that takes a lot of clients longer, but again, because we do this at 2XU, we already have that already set up. The next two steps essentially in the BOSAI process are automate and then integrate. But we start with the automate first. And the key thing with automate is automate or delegate. That's the whole actual question here. I was like, is this something that we want to automate, or is this something that we need still like human to look at? Now, typically this is the time also that we start building AI assistants before we build the AI agents. Now, for me, I define AI agents as one that's you already pre-trained, and this is why the systems really is like helpful here. And then for AI agents, they are now running autonomously. But for AI assistants, that's where we'll start off. And there's a few ways that I'm thinking that we can build your AI assistant. So I'm going to share my own screen. So starting off, we have again the Honey's assets. So the way that we can start building the AI assistants first to be able to become AI agents, I had two different paths that I had in mind. Now, before, when I would build AI assistants, I would build them with a custom GPT, or I will build them with a Gemini gem. And both are really great and really helpful. But the problem with them is both sides, both either just the Gemini gem or the custom GPT, I kind of have to build in a box. Like for you, like you have a custom GPT for my Leanne Rider, right?
Yes.
So that means that every single time that you have to get that, you have to like make sure that you're using that custom GPT, right?
Yeah, it's like transferring from tabs to tabs.
Yeah. So the cool thing with using it with Claude instead of using ChatGPT, instead of using Gemini Gem, is here on Claude, we can create skills. So on skills, it's one of my favorite things to just build. I have so many skills in there right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab, essentially we'll start with the email one. So I'm going to grab this whole SOP. Maybe not the video. All right, so I'm going to copy that, and then I'm going to go into Claude, and I'm going to say, let's build a skill for you to manage my emails. Now, because I've been using Claude for a long time now, I don't really need to give it the whole whoa prompt, but it's really helpful to think about. So for example, the who you are, what you do, who you work with, and the whole whoa prompt is basically giving context on who you are, like as the person, as the role, as a human being. What you do is essentially what kind of business do you have, and who you work with is usually who are your target audience, like who is this for? And the O in the whoa prompt is the output. So the output, we just write it in of like, let's build a skill for you to manage my email. So that is the output. The A is usually, are you ready? Or ask me questions. So it's for AI to know that it's okay to ask questions if it's not super clear on everything else yet. And then the H is essentially like, how do you actually want it done? You know, what's the format for this? So we'll put this like, let's build a skill for you to manage my emails. I will paste in, this is the SOP that my assistant uses when managing my email. And then I'll paste in and it'll look like that, which is really cool. I won't really need Opus for this because it's not something that is super big brain. So the different, so also walking you through, Honey, Opus is essentially like the highest tier. Like it takes up a lot of tokens because it's the quote unquote smartest AI. Sonnet is great for just efficient everyday tasks. That's what I use every single time. And then Haiku is kind of not too smart, but it's really great for just like searching for things. For this one, we'll use Sonnet because that's the one that we would need for building that skill. So let's build a skill for you to manage my emails. This is the SOP that my assistant uses when managing my email. Learn it, ask me questions if there's anything to know. Hit enter there. And essentially, the cool thing is this becomes a skill that lives everywhere. So for you, Honey, you don't have to create, you don't have to open just a custom GPT. You don't have to open just the Gemini gem for it. Essentially, the skill makes it easy for you to just use it everywhere. Like whichever chat that you're using, you can use it. So right now, which is funny, it says reading Leanne's context file because it has a Leanne MD file or Markdown file that has like most of my information of like, this is how I prefer to talk. This is how I prefer to think. This is the preferred like output. So I made it really detailed. And I'll probably do like a future YouTube video on that. But basically now it says, what's the primary use case? Is this for Honey to use for Claude's help or for you to run yourself via the Gmail MCP? where Claude actually touches your inbox directly. Step 4 is empty, which basically which was asking for clarifications, newsletter to keep versus to archive. Step 3, some newsletters like the review, email templates, Leon voice writer, AI assistant, and then output format. So here I'll just respond to these. Can I respond with it? Voice mode, or will that break it? Wait, sorry. That's just me thinking out loud because I am using the mic. Let's see. Connecting. Let's not use. Oh, okay. So maybe I can use it. Okay. So basically, the primary use case is we're building this skill for Honey to be able to take over later, and basically just use my Gmail for it. But then for this one, let's just say that this is a skill that I'm building for you specifically, Claude, to be able to use. Step 4 is empty. Basically, just it's mostly because it's self-explanatory of like anything that looks like spam or unnecessary email. Basically to just flag those as well. Newsletters to keep versus archive. Usually I like to read newsletters that actually contain information rather than just info selling something. Email templates, basically for email templates, we'll feed that separately for you to be able to use. Leanne Voice Writer AI Assistant. Basically, you have this already as a skill. So I created a skill that's a Leanne Writer based off of my current skills, my current writing. And then output format, when the skill runs, what should we produce? Prioritize action list, draft replies, or process inbox summary. First is create the inbox summary of like, this is basically based off of the SOP. These are the next steps that I'm going to be doing. Is this right? Is there anything to correct before you actually run it? So you're making sure that you are giving a heads up on basically based off of the SOPs, you've done most of the steps. You are going to suggest essentially based off of the SOP what the output would be, and then there would be probably some corrections there, and then you would proceed with the action steps based on what's agreed upon. So it's essentially very similar, Honey, to how I do voice notes to you, right?
Yeah.
It's perfect to AI that way. So now it's going to do that. It's going to decipher, blah, blah, blah. So the skill does this, connects to Gmail, MCP, and Visa inbox, goes through each SOP step, produces an inbox summary, basically creates suggested actions, and then things I will nail down before writing. The Leanne voice writer, when drafting emails, should the skill pull from Leanne MD style value already in the skills folder or separate Claude project prompt you want to reference specifically, Honey tasks table, prepare to draft without labeling, and then WhatsApp flag. The SOP mentions via WhatsApp. So Claude, okay. So this is all pretty legit. So this is even Claude telling us like what it can do, what it can't do with the WhatsApp flag. So I'll just do voice mode again because it's easier than typing. Okay, so for the Leanne voice writer, it is better that you do refer the Leanne MD writers, Leanne writer MD file. So then you're always making sure that's aligned to how I would respond to something. The Honey tasks label, do that for every draft that you create as well. So then Honey can double check. And then WhatsApp flag, that's something that will be part of essentially the summary. So then Honey can make sure to bug me on something if something had to be responded to right away. Okay, voice reference, the NMD for every draft. Honey tasks applied to every draft Claude creates, no exceptions. And then urgent flag is surface as many bug me on this section in the summary so she knows that needs a response right away. So it's writing the skill. So writing the skill now, so it already went ahead and built out, reads the inbox, runs all 5 SOP steps. So here, this is now the skill MD. So again, the cool thing is I can just go ahead and save skill and it will basically just add it to its own toolbox. And then here, I can even download this and then I can give it to you to use on your Claude. But then the main problem I'm finding with Claude at the moment is the fact where for it to be able to actually fully read through an email without like a connection is it can only do one account at a time, which is a little bit annoying, which means that for you have to be logged into my Gmail to be able to do this. But that's essentially like this task is now, I've replaced you on this task because now we will now do an ultimate test where I would actually go to new chat and I will, with your email SOP skill, run that task now. However, I'm going to add a caveat because you guys are watching this on YouTube. This is This is gonna be on YouTube, shared screen. So make sure to use redacted for actual emails, but still run the skill. All right. So let's see if I actually can follow what I said. But this is not the cool thing for you is once you have this later on as your skill that you have just living inside of your Claude, is this is now your AI assistant. This now becomes essentially before human honey goes through it, you basically have your AI assistant actually running. So it says got both files now connected to Gmail to pull the inbox because it does. This one is connected to my Gmail. So let's see as it runs it.
But what does MD means?
So MD is Markdown file. So Markdown file is essentially the easiest way to think about it is it's a block of text. Instead of you reading a code as a human, you're reading it as a human text. And then so the Markdown file is also easiest way for AI to read something. So that's what an MD is. So for example, like here, the email manager, this is an MD file. This is an actual like what an MD file looks like. So for us as humans, it's easy for us to read and understand this. And then it's also easy for the AI to read and understand this as well. So MD file, you can also think of it as your SOP. Like this is the AI creating an SOP for itself so then it remembers it always. So now it actually ran the SOP. It has a few things that are already flagged for me to be bugged on. I'm not going to scroll through the rest of the actual output, mostly because I don't want you guys to know what's going on in my email. But that is essentially it. I've kind of, in a way, honey, I've replaced you on email. How does that feel?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because I was just scrolling through your email this morning and I was like, oh, I should bug Leanne for this email, and that AI just did.
There you go. So that's essentially it. This is now kind of a living AI assistant inside of Claude that you can go ahead and anytime I'll download this, I'll send this to you. Anytime that you're reading through my emails, you can just use that to run through first before you run through it as a human, and basically makes the whole email management side a little bit easier and a little bit faster for you, right?
Yep. Super cool.
So essentially in the next couple of videos, I'll go through how to do this with calendar. I'll go through, I think the biggest one is like how to replace you in a lot of the writing or quote unquote writing when it comes to a lot of my content. So that'll be in the next couple of videos, but that's essentially the first step is creating an AI assistant that later on you will build the AI agent out of. So that is essentially it on the automate or delegate, where basically we started creating now the AI assistant to replace Honey on the tasks that she's currently doing. The next step is usually integrate, but for the next couple of videos, we'll probably keep diving into the different tasks that you've laid out through your SOPs, and then we'll build out the different AI assistants, and then later on the integrate part of like creating the actual agent, you will see essentially how all of these skills will come together. Are you excited?
Yeah, super excited.
Amazing. So essentially that is it. Thank you so much, honey, for being here again so that you can see the behind the scenes of how I'm slowly replacing you without doing it behind your back. And if you guys like this video, of course, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below any other tasks that you want to replace your EA with, and then we'll start creating more of these kinds of videos if you guys are enjoying these kinds of videos. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of the videos every Thursday on how to grow your business, especially with an amazing EA and AI. And if you are an EA yourself, you want your EA to learn more, I do have another YouTube channel right here to be able to check out more videos on how to get started with AI as an executive assistant. And of course, you could check out the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing and wonderful day. Everyone, that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.